When I defeated Natalie for the 10th time and claimed the supermodel champion title, her childhood sweetheart, Jared Johnson, proposed to me. "Will you marry me?" I smiled and said yes. That very night, he became mine. Throughout 7 years of marriage, I stepped away from the runway. Instead, I gained 3 beautiful children. They inherited my supermodel figure and their father's stunning looks. Together, the 4 of us turned heads wherever we went. On my birthday, Jared handed me the registration form for the Supermodel Showdown. I knew he wanted me to live in Natalie's shadow and be nothing more than her backdrop. However, I signed my name without hesitation. I already had the best of his genes after all. Now, it was time to take back the crown that belonged to me. I signed my name without hesitation. Jared could not help but tease, watching me as I signed my name on the document. "You're not really going to take this seriously, are you? Just for fun? After all, you can't win anymore." His gaze dropped to my stomach and his lips curved with ridicule. I smiled as well. He was right. This was only for fun. The truth was that I had already secured a global ambassadorship contract with Eterna, so why would I care about receiving the national one from the competition? Thanks to my 3 children, the contract fee had tripled. As Eterna was expanding into the family luxury market, I was their ideal face. When I agreed, they even invited me to serve as a special judge for Supermodel Showdown, with veto power over the contestants. I got to decide who won and who didn't. Later that evening, I saw Jared's messages with Natalie on his laptop. "Jared, has Clarissa agreed to compete? I want everyone to see me step on her." Jared replied within seconds. "Don't worry, everything is set. The way she looks now, she'll fall hard." I was not surprised by Jared's message. I had always known he did not love me, and his proposal had been for Natalie's sake. 7 years of marriage and 3 children had been his way of burying my career completely. However, I had my own purpose with him. I wanted his genes and to have beautiful children, so the moment he proposed, I agreed without thinking. After all, a modeling career could not last forever. It was better to prepare early than to be cast aside by time. I had already reached the peak, and I no longer needed the crown. What I wanted more were clever, beautiful children of my own. Natalie sent him cheerful emojis. Jared replied quickly. "She's had 3 children and gained 10 pounds. She's a pig compared to you." I laughed to myself. To comfort Natalie, he would say anything. When I debuted as a model, the industry was amazed by my figure ratio, and I had only grown more striking with time. Just yesterday, Eterna had praised my updated measurements and raised my fee. Hearing Jared's insults, however, allowed Natalie to relax. She cooed sweetly. "Thank you, Jared, for taking such a burden off my heart. Once I win, I'll give you a child too." Jared's reply was curt. "I will never cross that line. Loyalty to my family is where I draw the line." I froze and closed the laptop, walking over to the dining table and cutting myself a piece of cake. I already had my children. Raising them without him would not be impossible. After only 2 bites, Jared knocked it aside. "Look at the shape you're in. And you're still eating?" When I finally glanced properly at the cake, I noticed Natalie's name written. It turned out the cake was meant for her. I set down my fork and asked calmly, "I gave birth and am raising 3 children. Do I not deserve a piece of cake on my birthday?" He tossed his black card onto the table, his expression edged with impatience. "Don't make a fuss over something so small. The card has no limit. Buy yourself whatever you like. I have work. Bye." Half an hour later, I saw Natalie's latest post online. "Thank you, Jared, for such an extravagant birthday celebration. You will always be my soulmate." I stared at the screen in silence until my kids threw their arms around me. "Don't be sad, Mommy. We'll celebrate with you." My eldest, Anna, had already mastered how to read a room. She brought out a cake she had baked herself and placed a party hat on my head. I smiled, tapping her nose. "I'm not sad, sweetheart. On the contrary, I'm grateful. For as long as I could remember, I had been alone. My greatest dream was to have children who shared my blood. Clever, beautiful, and backed by a powerful family, they would never have to struggle as I had. Who else could offer better genes and connections than Jared, the man who had built an empire in fashion? He thought he had destroyed me, burying my career for Natalie's sake. Not realizing I had captured him, I pulled him into my bed again and again. 3 children later, I had already won. Now, it was time to devote myself to my career once more. Jared did not return home until late that night. The first thing he did was step into the children's rooms and kiss their sleeping faces. I looked at the freshly drafted divorce papers in front of me, feeling an unexpected twinge of regret. Jared was, after all, a good father. He just did not love me. My thoughts were interrupted when his angry voice cut through the silence. He grabbed the container of protein powder from the table and threw it into the trash, his expression tense. "What is this? Are you preparing for the supermodel showdown? I told you before. Your only duty is to give me more children and be my wife." In this house, contraceptives and fitness regimens were forbidden, but they were also my secret weapon against him. When I gave birth to Annie and he was tied up with Natalie, I calmly told him that after delivery I planned to return to the runway. Within 5 minutes, he had rushed into the delivery room. On Anna's birthday, while he was shopping abroad with Natalie, I went to the gym. Within half an hour, he was on his private jet heading home. Every time I hinted at a comeback to outshine Natalie again, he would abandon everything and return to the family. When I didn't answer, his voice softened. "I'll spend more time at home with you. Don't touch that stuff. You don't need to work on your figure." I smiled lightly, brushing him off. "I'm not training for the competition. The doctor just recommended I add more protein." Relieved, he exhaled and even sounded apologetic as he said, "Tomorrow I'll take you to your favorite French restaurant. You'll get all the protein you need there." The next day we had barely sat down when his phone rang. It was Natalie's special ringtone. He answered, and his usually cold expression softened into a faint smile. "Natalie has an important engagement. As her boss, I need to handle the arrangements. Is that all right? It sounded like a question, but his tone left no room for refusal. As he turned to leave, I handed him 2 documents. Medical paperwork. I just need your signature. My face was composed, but my voice trembled slightly. If he took even a moment to read carefully, he would see the truth. They were divorce papers, along with a waiver of custody rights. He frowned slightly, about to question me, but his phone buzzed again and again. I gave it a quick glance. It was Natalie urging him on. He hastily picked up the documents. Just before signing, he paused. My heart tightened. Then he said casually, "Stop drinking protein powder. I know your body. You don't need it." When I nodded, he signed smoothly. On the way back from the divorce attorney's office, I scrolled through the trending news and saw Natalie's latest headline. So much for her important engagement. It had actually been a romantic beach date with Jared. Jared was kissing Natalie's lips tenderly, and their intimacy was way too obvious. The comments overflowed with blessings for the couple. Now and then, someone remembered me. Wait, isn't Clarissa Mrs. Johnson? She was the top model who once outshone Natalie. However, the mockery soon drowned those voices out. She's just a washed-up wife who trapped her husband with kids. How could she compare to our Natalie? She should get out of the Johnsons. I heard she even signed up for Eterna's competition. Stealing a man wasn't enough. Now she dares to steal a career too? After 7 years away, what does she have to fight Natalie with? I tightened my grip on the phone, a cold smile curving my lips. That evening, I went as usual to the beauty institute. My modeling coach was already waiting for me. After a moment's hesitation, she finally asked, "Do you really plan to return to modeling?" I smiled. Not just me, but my 3 children as well. As soon as the words left my mouth, 3 little heads peeked out from behind me. I added with a laugh, "Please arrange training for them as well." After a crash course, my children walked the runway with impressive poise. The coach could not stop marveling, exclaiming how they were born to be supermodels just like me. However, before the joy could settle, a strong hand yanked me off the runway. It was Jared, with a flustered Natalie right behind him. His face was cold, his eyes burning with fury. "You dare to train as a model again? And you brought the children?" I brushed the dust off my clothes and gave a mocking smile as I looked at the couple before me. "You have your little seaside hobbies. Why shouldn't the children have hobbies of their own?" His jaw tightened, his expression darkening further. "Clarissa, don't forget, they're my children. I will never allow them to follow your path, nor will I allow you to return to the runway." I already had custody in hand, so there was no need to argue further. Meeting his gaze, I answered calmly, "I'll decide the path for me and the children." The firmness in my eyes seemed to unsettle him. For a moment he was silent, then he let out a cold laugh. "Fine, I'll watch and see just what tricks you think you can pull." Suddenly, a sharp cry rang out behind us. With a pitiful voice, Natalie said, "Clarissa, just for this competition, you actually told your daughter to push me?" I laughed without mirth. "A 6-year-old child? Do you really believe that?" However, Jared's veins bulged in anger. He grabbed me by the collar and hurled me to the floor. "Are you insane, Clarissa? If anything happens to Natalie's foot, I won't forgive you." He never spared me another glance. Just before I lost consciousness, my phone buzzed with a message from Natalie. It was a video of Jared carefully massaging her ankle, arranging treatment with anxious care. I pulled my lips into a weak, bitter smile and closed my eyes, refusing to watch further. As the competition drew near, Natalie's updates appeared daily. Every post carried the same theme. It was of Jared by her side, eating with her, living with her, training with her. On the day of the competition, Jared finally called me. "Clarissa, everyone is waiting to see the former top supermodel. You're not going to back out, are you?" I pressed my lips together, my voice steady. "I'll be there." He sounded satisfied. "It's not like you're going to win. Just show up, that's all." Then, with mocking emphasis, he added, "Oh, and bring those 3 little supermodel babies of yours." But he forgot to hang up. In the background, his friends jeered, "See? Your wife's so obedient. Even if you told her to walk into fire, she'd do it." Natalie's faint laughter carried through the line. I let out a cold laugh of my own. "We'll make sure both you and Miss Natalie remember us well." Backstage at the supermodel showdown, Natalie leaned on Jared's arm and whispered, "I'm still a little nervous about Clarissa." Jared's reply was firm. "She's no longer your opponent. Today, she's nothing more than your stepping stone." However, before he could finish, a commotion erupted at the entrance. Stage lights flashed in every direction, and all eyes turned toward the source. I stood there, clad in Eterna's unreleased masterpiece, the Nirvana gown. My presence radiated power, a queen descending to her court. Behind me, my 3 children were dressed in matching couture. They walked with flawless runway steps, their striking looks capturing every camera in the room. As I entered, the host's voice rang out in excitement. "The show is about to begin.